You know, this skater was on the radar for a number of seasons before he made the NHL. Highly regarded Pee Wee prospect, highly regarded junior prospect. Had a very decent career and was part of the Boston Bruins' rugged third and fourth line of the late 1970s. Also went on to a good career with some other NHL teams in the 1980s. Now, he did something a lot of skaters have not done. Only a few did it. He led the OHL in scoring. Now, can you guess who this person is? A compatriot of Wayne Gretzky, some of the other players. Well, it's got to be the man with the great beard, Dwight Foster. Now, Dwight Foster, born Toronto, Ontario, 5'11" and 190, was a first-round selection of the Bruins in 77 after a very strong, like I said, junior career. Now, besides Boston, he played for Colorado, the Devils, and the Red Wings before retiring in 87 because of recurring knee injuries, and he had a second floor with Boston at the end of his career. Now, as a youth, he played in the 1968 and 69 Quebec International Pee Wee hockey tournaments with minor hockey squads from Toronto. Now, when he led the OHL in scoring, he was a highly rated prospect going into the 77 draft. Now, with the Kitchener Rangers over 4 seasons, put up some dynamite numbers. His draft year was one of the best in OHL history, with 143 points in 64 games, including a Mike Bossy-esque 60 goals. Now, he made the Bruins in 78, scored 2 goals in 14 games, but had some seasoning in the minors in Rochester. Now, the following year, he did play in 44 games, but unfortunately injuries because of the previous season, when he tore cartilage in his left knee, a lot of people thought, hey, this could be a rough next season. However, he got enough games in, 66 between Boston and the Rochester Americans, but he had a hard time earning the trust of the Bruins coach, Don Cherry. Now, while he dressed for all 11 playoff games that spring, including the infamous 7-game series against the Montreal Canadiens in the semis, he was used sparingly, including a 3-second appearance in Boston's Game 7 semifinal loss versus Montreal, which ended their season. We still don't know why Cherry used a Tortorella move on Foster. I saw him play in the regular season. He's a very decent player on the fourth line. And, you know, he was capable of scoring key goals where it was not expected. Now, after splitting time between the NHL and the AHL his first 3 seasons, he finally earned a full-time job in 81, when Cherry was gone, of all things, and chipped in with 24 goals and 50.2 points for the Bruins. Now, Foster sent Bruins top scorer Rick Milton and veteran winger Stan Johnson that season, but the next year Foster got out of town by signing a free agent contract with the Rockies and left Boston, probably, you know, still holding some partial negativity with the Cherry situation. Now, as compensation to the Bruins for signing Foster, the Rockies agreed to trade that center second-round pick in the 82 NHL entry draft to Boston, along with the option to swap first-round picks in 1982. The deal proved costly for Colorado when the Rockies finished in last place, gifting the Bruins the first overall draft pick, which used to select the very versatile Gord Kluzak. Now, Foster unfortunately struggled in Colorado while battling shoulder and groin injuries that limited his playing time. His goal total dropped by half from the previous season, and his 31 points placed him 8th on the team. The franchise eventually relocated to New Jersey the following season, but after just 4 games with the newly minted New Jersey Devils, the organization cut their losses and he was traded to Detroit, with the Devils receiving $1 US in exchange. The Chris Draper situation. Now, injuries continued to plague Foster with the Red Wings, but he did bounce back to score 17 goals his first year in Detroit, while being limited to 58 games. It would prove to be the high water mark for games played during his time in Detroit, where he battled against shoulder and knee injuries. Now, during his 4th season with the Red Wings, he was shipped back to Boston in a late season trade for Dave Donnelly. Now, Foster was held off the score sheet in the 13 games he played for the Bruins to wrap up the 86 season, but he did chip in 2 points in 3 playoff games that spring when they lost to Montreal in the first round. He returned to the Bruins for his 87 season, but struggled with just 4 goals in 47 games, and he suffered yet another knee injury that required surgery. When the Bruins did not offer him a contract for 88, he retired, finishing with 274 points in 541 career games. Now, Foster is not the only great athlete in the family. His son Alex is also a professional ice hockey player, and Foster's son Peter received a scholarship to the United States Air Force Academy as a goalie, playing for the Air Force Falcons for 4 years. Now, what's interesting about Foster as well, he was part of that strong 1977 World Junior team, again, where he won recognition for his great career with the Rangers. Now, he set several team records with the Kitchener Rangers. Most points in the season, 143. Most assists, 83. 77, of course. All-time most points, 382. And most goals in the game, the infamous contest in 1977, where he scored 5, and probably one of the most celebrated games in Kitchener Rangers history. Sort of like a Darryl Sittler means Indian Turnbull. Now, there was some question if the Toronto Maple Leafs were going to take a shot at him, but it never played out. Well, I don't know, when I saw Foster play, you saw signs of heavy excellence, but the knee injuries just ate him alive. Because at the time, it seemed like bad knee injuries in the Boston Bruins went hand in hand. And he showed, over 3 or 4 seasons. I look at the 81 season where he scored 24. Detroit in 83 where he scored 17, and Detroit in 85 he scored 16. He could have been a capable 20-goal scorer on the third or fourth line, but factors didn't play out together. And he was pretty consistent in the playoffs, especially in the 1980 season when he went on that partial run. So Dwight Foster, that's the latest in our Boston Bruins podcast. If you like what we're doing, give us a like, comment, or subscribe. Requests are always taken and considered. But I'm talking a lot about the Boston Bruins of that late 70s era, where they had all these great third and fourth liners, and they're always 1 or 2 players away from a Stanley Cup. And imagine if Dwight Foster would have scored 25 or 30 goals in maybe 78 or 79. You could come that much closer to knocking off the Montreal Canadiens. And maybe Dwight's production, maybe Cherry expected him to do more. I don't know. Sometimes when someone comes out of junior, you expect him to produce right away. You got a crazy coach like Don Cherry, would sometimes had a hole up his arse. He had his favorites. Anyway, we'll leave it at that. So, thanks for listening. Bye.